I was not always this dirty. Or this skinny. Or this invisible. There was a time, not too long ago, when I had a name. It was short and sweet and full of love. I heard it every day, in that high-pitched voice that made my tail wag without even thinking. That name meant home. That name meant I belonged to someone. But I lost it. Somewhere between the parked cars and the rusted dumpsters, I lost my name. Now, I am just a stray. Another shadow moving through the alleys. Another forgotten story. They say dogs are simple creatures. That all we want is food and someone to scratch behind our ears. Maybe that is true for some. But I remember wanting more. I remember craving something that had nothing to do with bowls or biscuits. I wanted to be someone's everything. I wanted to be their reason to smile when they came home from work. Their excuse to take long walks in the evening. Their pillow on Sunday mornings. Instead, I became the dog people step over. The one who sleeps curled up behind dumpsters, chasing warmth that never comes. The one who flinches at sudden movements, because I learned the hard way that not every hand reaches out in kindness. I still remember the last door that closed behind me. It slammed in a hurry. There were angry voices, bags thrown into a car, and then silence. I waited. At first, I thought it was just a quick trip. Then I thought maybe they forgot something and would come back for it. Then the sky turned dark, and I realized I was the one they forgot. The house stayed empty. My food bowl stayed empty. And the silence turned into fear. That was the night I stopped barking. No one listened, anyway. I wondered after that. Not far at first. I still believed they would return. But hunger does strange things to a heart. Eventually, your stomach screams louder than your hope. So I learned. I learned the rules of the street. I learned which trash cans had the best scraps. I learned how to dodge traffic and how to read the eyes of strangers. Some looked away. Some threw rocks. A few gave me bread or bones, but never a name. And oh, how I missed having a name. There was one moment that nearly broke me. A cold evening. Rain soaking into my fur. My paws were bleeding from walking across frozen gravel. I spotted a family, parents and a little girl in a pink coat. They were carrying groceries, and I thought maybe, just maybe, if I wagged my tail and lowered my ears, they would see me. They would see I wasn't dangerous. That I was just lost. I approached slowly, my tail wagging like a nervous question. The little girl saw me first. Her face lit up, and for a moment, I felt something warm again. But then the mother grabbed her arm and hissed, "Don't touch that. It's dirty." They walked around me like I was garbage on the sidewalk. And the warmth turned to ice again. That night, I crawled under an abandoned porch and cried. Not the kind of cry people hear. The kind that stays inside. The kind that breaks ribs without a sound. It was not just about hunger. Or pain. It was about being unseen. Unwanted. Unloved. If you are still listening to my story, thank you. Not many do. People scroll past videos like me. They click on cute puppies, clean ones with big eyes and bows on their heads. But they do not want to hear about the dogs who stink of sewer water and heartbreak. So thank you. Because even if this is just a voice in your headphones, it means I am not invisible for these few minutes. And maybe, just maybe, if enough people listen to voices like mine, another dog out there might not sleep alone tonight. If you are someone who cares about stories like mine, maybe consider subscribing to this channel. We share stories of real dogs and the silent lives they live behind fences, alleys, and forgotten backyards. And tell us in the comments, have you ever rescued a dog like me? I would love to hear about it. Because maybe that kind of story can heal more than just me. Anyway, back to my story. After that family walked past me, I almost gave up. I stopped trying to look friendly. I stopped approaching people. I became the ghost dog. The one who appears at night, slipping between shadows. The one who learns to survive, not to live. I found a small community of other strays near the edge of the city. We were all broken in different ways. A one-eyed shepherd mix who once guarded a junkyard. A limping hound with scars that spoke of dark nights and darker hands. A tiny chihuahua who barked like he was 10 feet tall, just to stay alive. We were not a family, but we were not alone either. We learned to share. To sleep in circles when the nights were cold. To growl at threats and still make room for each other's bones. There is something comforting about suffering in company. It does not make the pain go away, but it reminds you that you are not the only one hurting. One night, something changed. We were huddled behind an old mechanic's shop when we heard footsteps. Usually, that meant danger. People do not often come bearing kindness after midnight. But this was different. The footsteps were soft. No loud shoes. No harsh breathing. And then, a smell. Something familiar. Chicken. Real, cooked chicken. I poked my head out first. A woman stood there, holding a plastic container in one hand and a flashlight in the other. She looked tired, but kind. "Hey, sweeties," she whispered. No one moved. We had seen too many traps. But she sat down. Right on the cold concrete. She opened the container and set it down, then scooted back. She did not speak again. She just waited. The hound with the limp stepped forward. He sniffed. Then took a bite. No cage. No sudden movement. Just food and silence. We joined slowly, one by one. Me last. I did not trust her eyes. Too gentle. Too soft. People like that do not exist on the streets. But her hands never reached out. She did not try to pet us or leash us or make us anything we were not ready to be. She just came. Every night. That woman became our lighthouse. She never forced anything. Some nights she only sat with us and spoke in that calm, sad voice of hers. She told stories. About her childhood dog. About her divorce. About how she understood loneliness more than people knew. We listened. Dogs listen, even when they cannot speak back. I began to feel something I had not felt in a long time. Not hope. Not yet. But something close. To be continued in part 2. In the next chapter, I will tell you about the first time I let her touch me. The first time I let someone be close again. And the night that changed everything. There is a moment, just before trust, that feels like falling. You do not mean to do it. You fight it. Every instinct tells you to run, to hide, to bite if needed. But something inside you whispers maybe this time, it will be different. That is how it felt the night I let her touch me. She had been coming to us for weeks by then. Same routine. Same spot behind the mechanic shop. Same soft voice and warm food. Most of the others had started wagging their tails when she arrived. Some even pressed their heads against her leg, silently asking for affection. But not me. I stayed back. I watched. I could not risk it. Not again. The last time I let someone close, I was thrown out like a bag of trash. So I waited. I watched her eyes more than her hands. Because eyes do not lie the way smiles do. And hers were always the same. Tired. Kind. Sad. Like someone who knew how it felt to be left behind. That night was colder than most. The kind of cold that settles into your bones and makes even the concrete whimper. She came anyway. Kneeling down, setting out food, speaking softly into the night air like she always did. Then she did something different. She placed a blanket on the ground. Not for herself, but for us. She did not say a word about it. Just unfolded it with quiet hands and stepped back. The others sniffed it and moved on. But I could not stop staring at it. A blanket. Soft. Clean. Warm. It felt sacred. I approached it slowly. My legs trembling for reasons that had nothing to do with the cold. And I lay down. Not on the edge. Right in the center. Like it was mine. Like I had earned it. And she just watched. No words. No movements. Only a tear that slipped quietly down her cheek. I pretended not to see it. She called me honey that night. Not loudly. Not like an owner claiming a pet. More like someone whispering to a memory they thought was gone. Honey, she said, so softly it almost did not reach my ears. You're safe now. I wanted to believe her. It took 3 more nights before I let her touch me. It was never a question of the food. It was the hands. Hands had hit me. Pushed me. Grabbed me. But hers hovered in the air with a kind of patience that felt respectful. That night, I was shaking from hunger and exhaustion. And when she reached her hand toward me, she moved so slowly it felt like a cloud drifting. I sniffed first. Then I leaned in. Just enough to feel her fingertips graze behind my ear. It was warm. It was gentle. And it didn't hurt. From that moment on, I became her shadow. I did not follow her home. Not yet. But I waited for her every night. I listened to her stories. I let her pet me. And slowly, piece by broken piece, I remembered how to be a dog. Not a stray. Not a ghost. Just a dog. She told me her name was Claire. Claire had a small apartment and a cat named Peanut who hated everyone. She had a job she did not love and parents who lived far away. But she came to us like clockwork. Even when she was tired. Even when it rained. She told me once that I reminded her of her old dog, Daisy. Daisy had been with her through high school, heartbreaks, and sleepless nights. Daisy had passed 3 years ago, and Claire never adopted again. It hurt too much, she said. But somehow, you brought her back. I did not understand all her words. But I understood the way she said them. And that was enough. One night, she brought a leash. She did not try to use it. She just placed it beside the food. And said, only if you're ready. I was not. But I thought about it all night. About what it would mean. To leave the streets. To trust again. To go somewhere I could be honey once more. The next evening, I came early. I sat by the mechanic shop and waited for her car. When she arrived, I did not run to the food. I walked straight to the leash. I sniffed it. Then looked at her. Her eyes filled with tears again, and this time, I did not look away. She knelt down, looped the leash around my neck, and whispered, let's go home. The walk was short, but it felt like miles. Every step was a battle between fear and hope. But I kept walking. Not just because of the leash. but because of her. She looked back every few seconds, smiling like she could not believe this was real. Neither could I. Her apartment was small, clean, quiet. Peanut the cat hissed at me once, then ran under the couch. Claire laughed. I stood there, confused, on the edge of the rug, unsure if I was allowed. She patted the couch. Come on, honey. You've earned this. And for the first time in what felt like years, I climbed onto something soft that was not wet or stolen. I curled beside her, and she placed a blanket over my body like it was the most normal thing in the world. That night, I slept. Not with one ear open. Not with my body curled in defense. I slept like I belonged somewhere. Because I did. That was the beginning of my second life. The one where I was no longer a stray dog. Where I was no longer invisible. Now, I am Honey again. And when people see me on walks with Claire, they smile. They ask if I was adopted, and Claire always tells them, she chose me. If you are listening to this and thinking of adopting a dog, do not look for the prettiest one. Look for the one who hides in the back. The one who watches in silence. The one whose eyes still remember pain, but whose tail wants to trust again. That dog will love you in ways you have never known. Because once you rescue a dog like me, we spend every day trying to rescue you right back. Thank you for listening to my confession. If my story touched you, please subscribe to this channel and help more voices like mine be heard. And leave a comment below. Tell me the name of your rescue dog, or simply say, I see you, for every stray still waiting. Because sometimes, being seen is the first step to being saved.